I want to continue this conversation now with someone who has been extremely outspoken on the politics of Ukraine funding, but she's also had some harsh words for President Biden, President Zelenskyy, and also Speaker McCarthy, Republican Congresswoman and Ukrainian-born Victoria Spartz of Indiana, joining me now. Congresswoman, really glad to have you today. A lot of topics I want to hit. In particular, you've been very critical, not just of President Biden, but also President Zelenskyy as well, saying that both of them need to stop playing politics and theater with people's lives. You still say Biden needs to be tougher here. We'll get to that in just a minute. But do you still feel that Zelenskyy is not supporting his military and local governments effectively right now?
Well, I've seen some positive changes, which is good, replacing, defense minister, which pretty much minister that failed the people. I think it's a good positive step. I mean, better late than never. I still need to hold people accountable too. It's not just replaces one people that stole money with another people that might be doing it. Until people see accountability, then it's not going to make a difference. Make sure that, he works without the president and actually maybe helps our president, since our president doesn't do a good job to assure American people that their money goes to the right places. That is extremely important because American people are very generous people. We've done a lot, and a lot of Americans died to help other countries to be free. But Americans people cannot be fooled and be stupid, okay? The Americans people are not going to be given money that actually our great-grandchildren money if they don't see it goes to the right causes. And I think that is very important, for them to show that and really communicate to Congress better.
Let me stop you there, Congressman. Let me ask you, because you're talking about oversight here, and we are talking about millions and millions of dollars, and now possibly another $24 billion in aid. So what do you mean about where that money is going and not being truthful about where that money is going? Be specific.
Well, I'm specific. I actually have a very specific amendment that I hopefully will make through NDAA, where it's going to show, and I think we should have had Inspector General starting last summer when, demanded accountability. I was attacked, which is very strange for me. Congress should be demanding accountability. We failed in places like Afghanistan because we didn't have proper accountability. I said it's very important for us to know from all of the packages of money, reconcile the number with all of the money, that was given on the Ukrainian associated causes, because there is not just Ukraine. Not all of the money went directly to Ukraine or Ukrainian military. Which went where, which companies benefit, and which countries benefit, where the money was, because a lot of people don't realize not all of them, and some was spent in Africa. We need to know where did World Bank get, broken, corrupt World Bank got the money, how they was spent in Africa, who was getting this money. Very not transparent. We cannot even figure out a lot. I think they need to be very transparent. We could never get these numbers from letters and everything that we wrote. And I think it's very important because if Congress is not informed, then American people are not informed. And when people are not informed, they will start get frustrated, and it can cause problems for long-term support of Ukraine.
So let me ask you this. Are you alleging that President Zelenskyy isn't putting the money from the U.S. to where it needs to go? Do you not believe that the money is not going into the local communities, to the people, to the military, to the weaponry? Are you afraid that the money is going more into his pocketbook versus...
Well, let's be honest. He has to make that case. If that's it is, we need to make that case, and President Biden need to make that case. If he made it personally to President Biden didn't make it to Congress. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand. We have the most power here. Congress decides, not President Biden, how much of Americans' monies are going to be spent and what. We're not using our power. And I'm not saying because we have president as a Democrat. It doesn't matter. We have Democrat on Republican. I attack my Republicans for the same issue, too, if they're wrong. But I think what the challenge is becoming, if he communicated to President Biden and President Biden held this, he's not giving it a good job doing it to us, then it's his fault. Then he needs to talk to him Because unfortunately, Congress, we haven't even had briefings forever. But it's not about just giving briefings and presentation. We need to make sure that we know exactly what's happened with what money, which went to Ukrainian military, which maybe went to Yemen, which ones went to BlackRock, which one went to, whatever. I'm just throwing it there. It's not about, because we're actually dealing with countries that are known for a lot of corruption and oligarchs. Everyone knows all about that stuff, right? Especially when we're dealing, especially it's important that somebody doesn't take an opportunity, to try to something bad happen. And then Russia and China will be spreading propaganda. So it's important for us to actually have this assurances, and it's also important for people that dying there for freedom that they actually the one who are getting that money. It's not about, we always have to have concern with money when you deal with money, period. You always have to oversight, but on top of it, you're dealing with very difficult countries like whether it's Ukraine or Afghanistan, very known for corruption and oligarchs.
Do you believe that Zelenskyy could somehow be tied to oligarchs? Are you in any way alleging that he is being corrupt with this U.S. aid?
But the country is known for oligarchs. Okay, let me just say, he just fired a bunch of people in his administration. Ultimately, the leader you take respect for corruption. His Department of Defense just got wiped out. He actually, last year got rid pretty much on everything in SBU's Secret Service, pretty much infiltrated by Russians. He did no one, I don't know how many people got punished. I don't keep track of that, but it seems like not very many people get punished. People just get replaced. People have to give money back and have some consequences. Somebody has to go to jail for, people, making money on the blood of a lot of, young people dying there in the trenches. But that's a different conversation. Look at all of track record of Ukraine with everything what's happening with all of that. And on top of it, then we have Hunter Biden mingling there with Ukrainian corrupt oligarchs. That doesn't help the case too. So that raises a lot of concerns what's happening on top of everything else.
So then do you plan on calling for some type of probe or inquiry? You've got Kevin McCarthy calling for an impeachment inquiry into the President of the United States right now. Do you see yourself doing the same thing with regard to this U.S. aid going into Ukraine?
Well, listen, has to be not just Ukraine. It was every cause we have to have accountability. American people have to know where the money are going. That is actually number one job of Congress. It's not just Ukraine. Number one function of Congress is oversee spending. It's a, power the person war. It's two most powerful, important function that Congress would spend 90% time doing, overseeing the spending, planning, make sure that the branch is doing the right job. And what is happening right now, it's completely not happening, right? So it's not just Ukraine. It's for every cause, because that's why even if we disagree or something goes wrong, we can be more timely to do that. So I think as part of NDAA process, we passed some, at least, I might just say better late than never, but we passed some legislation, and I actually have some an amendment too, to reconcile some numbers, to bring more transparency, to understand what's happened. And actually, it gives an ability for President Biden to say, look, a lot of this money benefit American companies, American production, and a lot of districts that right now we're able, maybe to make more innovative weapons and replace it. A lot of stuff, I hate to say, was given to Ukraine was junk, right? But that's a different conversation. But he would have to make the case how it also benefit Americans too. But right now, we don't know. We don't even know what's happened and what it is. They're so not transparent. And with a track record of administration, plus the politics, with track record of Ukraine and all of the scandals, it puts even in a higher level the need of that. So American people continue supporting Ukraine.
Let me move on to just 9 days now from a government shutdown, possibly. Do you think, first of all, that we are going to shut down?
Well, listen, unfortunately, and I expressed very, strong dissatisfaction. And, we didn't have very friendly exchanges for a while with Kevin, because I take responsibility for my party too. This day didn't move on the calendar. We had time, and I know this stuff is hard, but we had time to go through the appropriation process, which we should have done, and not dealing now with the end of the month. and now we have to, scramble, right? But I'll tell you something, we have a different, agreements, but sometimes from crises, good things happening. And actually, I am glad to see there is more discussion of some serious issue, and more of my colleagues now supporting some issues that I discussed with Kevin, for a while now, right? So I said, okay, I'm willing to provide this CR, which is extension of funding to give more time to finish appropriations, because ultimately what people need to understand, appropriation, what we're going to pass, it's just, it's pretty much the beginning of negotiation each side. Then we have to still reconcile with the Senate, but at least I will do that if we have some issues we go deliver to the American people. And the issues I believe are important and should be bipartisan. I really hope the Senate is not going to fight with us. It's the issues of our debt situation, to have a debt commission, at least to try and move the needle. So when we have debt ceiling increase, vote, we will have to increase it next year. We will have to look at some solution to start moving in the right trajectory, and at least look at some fraud and abuses in the system. And there are some, I've offered 5 bipartisan issues that Obama and Trump supported, 1.8 trillion. They didn't want to do it, but at least we'll start with commission and do something about border security, because I think it's a national security crisis. So I'm willing to do that and send it to the Senate, and Senate will have to explain why they don't care about debt and don't care about border security if they can take it out. But if Kevin cannot win on this issue, then he cannot win for the American people. Then I, think he's going to fail us then again. And then I will be very open-minded, including some of my other colleagues to replace him.
Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, appreciate your time today. We'll follow up.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.